This is Russell Brand. If you're unfamiliar, he's like this far-right British nutcase, basically. He's kind of like the British Joe Rogan, and he's absolutely terrible. He commented on the French elections recently. If you don't know what happened, French elections 2024, the left won big. And the right, all over the United States and Canada, France, and Britain, they're all freaking out about it. Let's listen to what he has to say here. While we listen, we're going to play some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Should just be in the background, won't bother you too much. You never played before.
Those powers meant to curb the threat of terrorism were then used against the Gilets Jaunes, a social movement with a broader popular base and appeal. Now, you'd think that some of these left-wing parties that are part of this new alliance would have derived some of their support from the Gilets Jaunes movement. Remember those protests on the steps of BlackRock and Vanguard? They were anti-corporate. The French people were pissed off that they were having their pensions reduced and were being asked to work for additional years. They were having their sort of French culture altered before their eyes. I pray that you can look beyond what seems to be the most significant issue to most of you based on comments and stuff, the important issue of migration, immigration, and cultural change. And notice, too, that you have won the argument on the subject of migration.
It was Woodrow Wilson. You are correct. I appreciate that. There's a picture of it, I think, of Woodrow Wilson running out onto the House floor to get this treaty signed. Again, they agreed to a ceasefire, I believe. The United States did. Britain and France did sign the Treaty of Versailles, and the U.S. eventually modified it and stuff. So, yeah.
You based on comments and stuff, the important issue of migration, immigration, and cultural change. And notice, too, that you have won the argument on the subject of migration. The Labour Party, even parties from the left, everyone says, well, you have to at least pay lip service to the idea of border security and border control. That argument's been won, at least.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that people are very anti-immigration. It's honestly really sad because immigration is going to be necessary in the future. There is a population crisis. Elon Musk has been talking about this for a while, and he's correct on that front. There is going to be a population crisis soon. Not enough people being born to replace the ones that are going on Social Security, for example. And we either have to birth our way out of it or invite in massive numbers of immigrants. Now, the United States is uniquely set up to allow in tons and tons of immigrants and process them really quickly and accept them into our society relatively smoothly. Japan, on the other hand, they're not set up for that at all. Japan is a very inherently racist system that exists there. Not good. They tried to bring in 1 million immigrants that are not Japanese. It's going to end badly just because the culture is just different there. United States, not so much. Anyway, we're going to be forced to make this work one way or another. It's only a matter of time.
At the level of the public dialectic, the public discourse. But who's carrying the argument for anti-globalism and global corporatism? And let me know in the chat. God, I'd actually love to know. What do you think is a bigger threat to your country? Immigration or the power of globalist elites? What do you think is going to affect
the power of globalist elites, because immigration is not quote unquote dangerous to the country. The only way in which immigration is dangerous is that it could lead to a different culture or different cultural values or whatever. And I have no problem with that. Go nuts. Culture changes all the time. I don't care.
your life. Now, of course, you'll be more directly aware of, bloody hell, wages are lower because of migration, can't get doctor's appointments because of migration. Those things will be more visceral, and there's no question.
I mean, there are ways to mitigate that. Yeah, he's correct in that, wages would go down if we don't, correct for that. We can correct for that stuff. We can make sure that people are not, placed in bad positions. We can add regulation and stuff to fix that. But no, okay, I guess we just count it out entirely. Sure, that works.
Quick interjection, this won't take long, I promise. I just want to say I'd appreciate it if you check my Patreon. owenmorgan.com/Patreon to find it. YouTube's algorithm goes up and down, so I can never predict where it's going to be. Having patrons gives me some level of stability. Okay, back to the video.
Question that there are cultural issues that are arising in certain parts of Europe and, as I understand, America as a result of that. But where do you think real power is? And what do you think Macron, Biden, Starmer, even if this is not what they're doing at the level of their sort of subjective experience, whose interests do they work for? As Chomsky once said, if you didn't work for those interests, you wouldn't be sitting in that chair. By the time you've been through the law schools...
Dude, I love that this guy is quoting Chomsky as if he gives a shit about Chomsky, as if he likes anything else that Chomsky has to say.
Or the universities or whatever party political machinery they put you through, who knows what skullduggery, chicanery and blackmail Epstein Islandry you have.
Dude, I love skullduggery, chicanery, and what else? I prefer shenaniganery. That's like my favorite, personally.
To also pass through the archipelago of sin that creates these creatures.
Do you mean archipelago?
By the time you get there...
Isn't an archipelago a, like, grouping of islands? Am I saying it wrong? Is it me?
You better believe your interests and Vanguard's interests and BlackRock's interests and NATO's interests are pretty fucking tightly aligned, because otherwise you won't make it through the maze, right? So what's more important? Migration leads to globalism. It's a contributory factor in the ways that I've just listed. But remember, don't switch off. Don't switch off, you lot. Come on. Macron reinforced this security regime during COVID, giving prefects, state-appointed regional or departmental representatives, extraordinary powers, including the power to ban individuals from entire regions. I read that even Napoleon was not so tyrannical.
Oh, give me a break, dude. You want to talk about tyrannical? Look at Putin. Look at China during COVID. You have no idea what tyrannical is when it comes to COVID, okay? These people are such a joke. Such a joke. You know, there was a point in time in China where people were, like, locked into their apartment buildings. Like, locked in. Welded shut, okay? People were dying in their homes of lack of food. It was bad. It was real bad. They had drones flying around saying, stay inside for your freedom and for your life or something. I don't remember what the drones were saying. They were flying around in large apartment complexes, like outside of skyscrapers, residential skyscrapers and stuff. And it was bad. Okay, it was psychotic. That, my friend, that is tyranny and authoritarianism on behalf of safety or whatever. What, like, Russell Brand's describing here, his issues or whatever, are fictitious.
In his implementation of the use of those prefix. Excuse me. The securitization of French society culminated in a law against separatism, allowing for more state control over non-governmental organizations, including mosques, but also secular civil society associations. In a minute, right, I'm going to leave you there for a second. If you're watching us on YouTube, let's start the countdown. We're going to be exclusively available on YouTube.
Yes. Okay, shout out for Rumble, great.
Not on YouTube, bloody hell, those bastards, what they've done to us. Give their money back. Damn you, Dinage. Damn you, Carol.
Oh, that is so funny. Boy, this guy is so hilarious.
I'm Dinage. She's the person that works for the Department of Culture and Affairs that wrote to all of the various social media sites.
What is he talking about here?
Said shut down, demonetize that dude. No, we'll be on Rumble and we'll be talking about Biden's comeback tour. He's back, baby, and he's more demented than ever. We'll be showing his appearance on ABC and we'll be breaking down globalism and look who's come back from the tomb. Why, it's Tony Blair himself to support his new protege Keir Starmer. Click the link in the description. Get on over here. Now.
My God, dude, this guy is a chatty Cathy.
Do you know that your bowel is a disgrace? Well, I invite you. Why not place your finger gently into your own bottom? And you will discover there, my good man or woman, a stench that will shock you to the very core of your being.
What the hell is he talking about right now?
Unless you are participating in the great project of Dr. Schultz, who will not rest till your bowel is like Disney World. And
What the hell is he going on about?
I'm incorrupt with a network of tunnels. And
I thought he said bell. Your bell is like whatever. I don't know what's happening right now.
Where you see sort of Mickey Mouse with his head off and like a dead body being sort of ushered around. No, I mean sanitized, clean, and lovely.
Okay, I don't, like. Is this an ad? What is? I'm jumping forward. Yeah, I don't even care. Yeah, this is an ad. Powerfully promotes regular and complete movements. Okay, intestinal formula number 1. Great. Thank you so much for that suggestion, bud. That's great.
And one of them was, do you remember when we were talking about, should we show them? Dare we? Have a look at this. This is one of the things we do on the Awaken Wonder community on Locals. We were talking about Bear and how I can't
It's what we do on the Awaken Wonder thing. Okay, now I know what to avoid.
live without him. And Massey, who works for us, he cuts a lot of the content and helps us with the comedy. He put this together. Let me know what you think about this. It's one of the things we do over on the Locals community. Have a look. Oh, no, I've got to press it. No, I'm in charge. Bear is another thing I cannot live without. And if there's something you cannot live without that you will have to live without, then I suppose you will have to address what that deficit is and what that symbol or relationship, what that relationship represents for you.
What the hell is happening?
Represents fealty, loyalty, connection, intimacy, deep intimacy. It represents duty. I'm dutiful towards Bear. It represents a kind of simplicity that is transcendent of my externally applied identity and a connection to my essential identity.
Does any of this make sense? Are any of these words, like, meaningful in any way?
It ain't no different as if I was a 7-year-old boy and met Bear. Like, when I was 7, all I wanted was a good dog, and I have one now. You know, and that's sort of a very simple thing in me. Think of the many threads or strings on the harp of your being, plucked in an endless symphony of performance where you try to make yourself fit with the tunes around you. Well, that note that I find in Bear is very like, bing, that's who I am.
Okay, yeah, sure. A lot of people feel that way about their dogs.
Son of a bitch, Massey, you son of a bitch, you goddamn nearly made me cry about my own dog. You nearly made me cry about my own bear. God, I love that dog. Post that everywhere. That's really good. Post it with like, I don't know. We'll think of what to post. It's good though, that. Post that. Post that around. People will love that. That's going to move people, isn't it? Do you feel moved? Are you moved? You didn't tell me whether...
What the hell is I'm sorry. What the hell is happening?
Do you think migration or corporatism is more important? Did you? Did you tell me that? Why don't you tell me, Awaken Wonder? Synchronicity 525, Claude, Sissy Calendar. I need to know. Can we just finish off that thing I was saying? Can we go back to the early numbers? Because I just want to finish that thing about Macron. Did I finish it? That
Damn it, man. I was this close and I hit a wall. I would have won that if I hadn't hit the wall. This is driving me nuts.
I don't know if I did. The rise of this security state, yeah?
Miracle. I know the words, but the meaning is lost, right? What the hell? No, Owen, he's not making sense, and I'm ashamed to say that he's British. Right. Well, don't feel too bad. I'm ashamed to say Alex Jones is American, so.
Yeah. Were we up to there? It was about there, weren't we? We'd finished that page, or did I stop in the middle of the other page? We were there, thanks. The rise of the security state. So this is back. Look, I want you to understand global corporatism. Of course it is. Why do you think migration? What you think? I think that if you say migration, it means that you think that you can't ever control your community, your state, your space, your land. Because I recognise that, like I was listening to Tommy Robinson talking about Luton. I was on Jordan Peterson. Did you see that? And he was talking about...
Oh, God, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, that's where he learns his ridiculous nonsense from. His ability to just say nonsense that means nothing at all. He's like an expert at that.
What it was like to grow up in Luton and how he was like, there was never a kind of racial division. He's from sort of football fan culture by his own admission. And he was saying about how, like, you know, like the white kids and the black kids around Luton would hang out, and even the Sikh kids, all the different, you know, even kids that had a religious affinity outside of Islam, but there was a kind of a natural division. And it was very good to hear this account from someone who grew up in those communities, and he was talking about the connection, at least his personal experience. I'm only recounting his personal experience as I understand it, between the gangs in Luton that sold drugs. Now, when I was a heroin addict, I lived in East London.
No, he was a heroin addict. Interesting. I was too.
Like some of the people I bought drugs off were Muslim guys that were in religious dress, and I used to sometimes go into like the estates where they were to get heroin, and I was always sort of struck by how...
Son of a bitch! All right, I'm restarting this. Interestingly enough, what he's talking about, Muslims being in dress, opium is like one of the biggest cash crops in the Middle East, or was, even though drugs and even alcohol are banned in Islam and thus in Middle Eastern countries. They grow it like wild. And Osama bin Laden called heroin the war on the West, basically. Heroin was one of the many ways that, you know, Osama was trying to destroy Americans or American society or whatever. And it, you know, it contributed to the downfall, to the destruction. I mean, America hasn't fallen or anything, but it's contributed heavily to the destruction of society, for sure. Anyway, he's talking about Muslims meeting up with him. Yeah, that's probably why.
Guys that were in religious dress, and I used to sometimes go into like the estates where they were to get heroin, and I was always sort of struck by how surely I thought their religious principles would not permit the sale of heroin, but there they were selling.
No, they won't permit the use of heroin.
And I suppose what the kind of old school patriotism and nationalism,
dude, I hate these things. I'm going to lose my shit in a minute.
The likes of Tommy Robinson is about the sense of kind of preservation, conservatism, connection to the land, or the sort of the sense that your community is under some kind of threat. Do you believe it's possible for different cultures to live harmoniously together? Do you
Yes, of course.
think that there's a certain number of different communities? Do you think there has to be a balance?
No, look to New York City. Of course there doesn't have to be like a balance or whatever. It's a melting pot. There are 1 billion people of all different backgrounds in New York City.
Do you think it's a racial or cultural dynamic? I'm very interested in what you lot think about all that kind of stuff, man. Because when I was watching Tommy Robinson, I suppose what I felt was, yeah, this dude is obviously a conduit for an experience that a lot of people are having. You know, a lot of people, it chimes with a lot of people. Me, personally, I wouldn't like any person to feel excluded from my love on the basis of their race, their religion, their sexual identity, their gender identity. I don't think Christ would want that. I don't think Christ would.
Oh, yeah. So he's accused of sexual assault, credibly accused of sexual assault. And in response, he converted to Christianity. Seriously. He is such a weasel, right? And I would have won it if it weren't for this damn pesky wall, right? Yeah, that's me. It's a stupid cactuar, dude. Those things are driving me insane. I didn't have any trouble with them in the last race, and now I can't get away from the little bastards. They're driving me nuts. Anyway, honestly, regarding the allegations against this guy, I have, being in the social media space, and being on the left, as I am, of course, I've seen a lot of accusations fly around against people. And I've seen, like, allegations completely wreck somebody's life, for better or worse. You know, and so, like, Bill Cosby, for example, that's good. His life should have been wrecked for what he did. That's monstrous and disgusting. But I've seen a lot of lives wrecked by allegations, and some of those allegations, I was in the room for those situations that played out, and I saw what happened, and I know for a fact that this is nonsense. I know for a fact that things did not happen the way that was described by people. I know for a fact that the person alleging this stuff is lying, because I was there to see it. A few times, like twice, I've seen that. 2 different times I've seen lies like this. So I've historically been very hesitant about believing, like, single allegations against a public figure until it reaches multiple allegations. I just try to be really, like, skeptical until I'm given reason to, like, trust this stuff, like verified this information myself or whatever. That being said, Russell Brand, it wouldn't surprise me if he did something questionable, as in, like, sexually assaulting somebody. But I don't feel like I have the evidence necessary. Oh my God, dude, these stupid walls! But I don't feel like I have the evidence necessary to accept it yet. I just need a little bit more, because there's only one allegation. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just, like, being kind of circumspect and hesitant. I don't know the word I'm looking for here.
Want anyone unloved. The Old Testament God, he's a bit more, listen, I told you what to do, you didn't do it. Bam! Smiting! You're getting smoked! I'm going to smoke you! But our Lord and Savior Jesus,
I'm about to lose my shit right now.
Very, very much on...
I'm about to lose my shit!
Let's get to love, let's get to love, let's get to love. I know that someone will... I bet you right now will be looking...
You know, Katy Perry was married to this idiot for 2 whole years. How? Yeah. You know what else is weird? This blows me away every time I think about it. Don Jr.'s wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle, was a commentator on Fox News, and she was married to Gavin Newsom. She's married to Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom and Don Jr. were with, like, the same person. That's just wild to me. I don't understand.
to sort of go, what about the money lenders at the temple? Everyone loves the money lenders at the temple bit because, let's see our Lord whipping, or as my mate Jonathan Rumi, what did he call it? Jesus, Indiana Jones, Indiana, I can't remember. He came.
Okay.
Some Indiana Jones thing. Anyway, look, I want to get back to this Macron thing. I got sidetracked there. Clearly.
Yeah, a little bit.
Clearly. Tommy Robinson. Well, look, everyone's. You've got, there's some division. There's some division. Tommy's been.
Dude, what the hell is happening? I'm so lost.
Really, let us, for heaven's sake, find some love. All right, so listen, Emmanuel Macron. The rise of the security state has been a constant feature of Macron's rule, and it will continue. It has been reflected in the growth of the police budget. That's a good way of
Oh, my God.
watching this stuff, isn't it? Well, I like this kind of analysis. This is out of Spike. They've looked at where's the money getting spent. If you're spending a lot of money on the police state, then we can assume that you're authoritarian. Although maybe a right-wing appraisal of that would be, oh no, it's to implement social control because of the uprising of all these, who knows? You tell me what you think. This has led to more officers on the streets, an increase in riot police units and the militarisation of their equipment. This is a global phenomenon. Remember, some of the budgets that were put aside for COVID protections ended up going towards the militarisation of police vehicles.
These are weasel words. You have evidence of this? Like, I'm not saying this is not possible. I'm not even saying that this did not happen. I'm saying I need evidence for this stuff, especially if it's coming from Russell Brand. Okay? He is the least trustworthy source on planet Earth, practically.
In numerous states in America. A lot of COVID budget in our country ended up being used for surveillance. I think I'm telling the truth, aren't I, Gareth? I think all those things actually happen. So the militarisation of the police is actually a global phenomenon. So if you're talking about globalism, and we talk about it a lot here, it's like, what things are happening everywhere? How come the same? Why are there agricultural protests everywhere? What's going on? Why are farmers in Sri Lanka and farmers in the Netherlands, that bunch of bastards, the Dutch, how we loathe them now? Why? Well, I think we will win, though. Why are they experiencing the same problem? Because presumably there's a global centralised agenda to implement measures on farmers everywhere to get centralised control of food, right?
Oh my God, dude. It's always a conspiracy theory. You know what's interesting? The terms left and right came originally from France, I believe. There was a revolution in 1789, shortly after the French helped the United States in their effort to take it from Britain or whatever. There's a revolution in 1789. To the left of the king or whoever it was, I think it was a king. To the left of the king were people in favor of the revolution. To the right of the king were people in favor of keeping the old system and going back to a time when things were better, mythical past type of deal. Authoritarianism versus communalism or whatever, working together and overthrowing oh my God, fuck. I swear, dude, I was that close. God, I can't believe I hit that dude. I don't think I can recover now. I don't think it's possible. Are you shitting me? Nope, it's not possible. I was that close. Anyway, that's where the terms left and right came from, I believe, to my knowledge. And I hear you asking, why didn't the United States help France immediately after the French helped the United States? And the answer is because technically helping the French would mean helping put down the revolution, helping fight the revolutionaries and siding with the right-wing extremists. And the United States had a doctrine, or George Washington had a doctrine about isolationism, about not getting involved in foreign politics and everything. So when they sent an emissary to ask for his help, he said, I'm not getting involved in that. Sorry. Anyway.
That's what we're sort of guessing. Or what?
So what's all of this again? One more time? By the way, the difference between a revolution and an authoritarian state or takeover, whatever, is on the right, authoritarian takeovers, dictatorships, tend to value a mythical past. On the left, revolutions are so disgusted and disturbed by their past that they'll even change their dating system to start at year zero again. That tends to be the pattern. That's not something that I've noticed. It's not an observation that's from me. By the way, that came from Richard J. Evans, wrote The Coming of the Third Reich.
going on? Why are farmers in Sri Lanka and farmers in the Netherlands, that bunch of bastards, the Dutch, how we loathe them now, why, well, I think we will win though, why are they experiencing the same problem? Because presumably there's a global centralised agenda to implement measures on farmers everywhere to get centralised control of food, right? That's what we're sort of guessing, or what...
That's what we're sort of guessing, you say? Interesting, okay. Guessing. Huh.
People like David Icke or Alex Jones would have been...
Oh, no, dude. David Icke is that guy that, like, popularized the idea that lizard people run the United States or run the governments.
telling us for ages, and saying that doesn't mean I agree with everything David Icke or everything that Alex Jones...
You shouldn't agree with literally anything that they say. Literally nothing. You should believe, or you should accept certain facts about, like, society and the universe and whatever. That should be completely independent of whether they believe it.
Or everything that Tommy Robinson or everything that Noam Chomsky says. Like you, other than my Christianity, I'm trying to piece together some sense based on what is in front of me.
God, he's disgusting, dude. Seriously. This Christianity thing is just like a complete farce. Like he's just lying so that he doesn't deal with consequences of his actions. Dude, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my shit in a second. This Christianity thing was just a ploy, as far as I can tell. Truly disgusting.
No? Is that not what you're trying to do? This, in turn, has prompted an increase in police violence. Did you know that had been happening in France? The process of securitization is a core feature of neoliberalism. Unlike liberalism, its 19th century parent, neoliberalism is not concerned with reducing the size and reach of the state. On the contrary, neoliberals fully embrace...
Yeah, neoliberalism is not the same as liberalism or being on the left. They're different. And he's saying, as though he knows what the he's talking about. He very obviously doesn't, right?
Liberalism, unlike liberalism, its 19th century parent, neoliberalism is not concerned with reducing the size and reach of the state. On the contrary, neoliberals fully embrace the state in order to use its powers to regulate and create the conditions for markets and a modern capitalist economy more broadly. Where old school liberals believe markets are natural, neoliberals know that the conditions for the market to exist depend largely on strong enforcement by the state. Regulatory bodies, anti-union laws, more flexible work contracts, a strong justice system, a repressive police force, probably a lot of migration, by the way, you could add to that, couldn't you? Because that's going to lower that's going to impede the ability of workers to demand a higher wage. We'd say that.
Yeah, okay. I agree. Neoliberalism is a bad thing. We can all agree on that, I suppose. Neoliberalism bad. Yes, good job. What does that have to do with, like, anything? I don't stand for neoliberal policies. You can say, like, Joe Biden is a neoliberal. I don't believe so. I think in some ways he's a neoliberal. Like, some of his policies are neoliberal, but not all of them by any stretch of the imagination. Joe Biden is actually really good, honestly. If you look at his policies, look at the things that he's done, look at the changes he's enacted, he's done a really good job, by and large.
That, right, wouldn't you? A repressive police force are all essential to enforce the needs of the market and fashion a labour force at the mercy of employers. And now we have true globalism. They are conflating and curating the conditions across a vast and literally global terrain. These resources are coming from this part of Africa. These call centres in this part of the world are being utilised. We're manipulating the cost of the stocks and shares here. We're investing.
And this is people, like, this is rich people who are, like, controlling everything. Okay.
You know, they're playing a rigged game in one strata of society. The political class is the managerial class. They're not actually really where true power abides. Look at them. They're idiots. You can sort of tell when you look at them. Don't you think? Don't you think? That's what I think, baby. Yeah, I think that with politics, you're dealing with the managerial bureaucrat class who do get a share of the spoils. All these people go off and get fantastic jobs afterwards, don't they? But they're not ideologues. They're not the kind of genii that are sat at a global level moving chess pieces over time. I think of someone like Rupert Murdoch as being a bit more like that. Some of you might think he's just some sort of hacky billionaire dude. But I think, no, that guy, he's like Mephistopheles.
Didn't Rupert Murdoch die? I think he did. He was the dude that started Fox News, or at least ran Fox News for, like, years and years. I don't remember, like, what his role was exactly. But yeah, he was terrible. And Charles Koch and David Koch, terrible people, awful people. Just disgusting behavior from those guys. And I think to myself, like, am I putting more, like, emphasis on the Kochs than I do on George Soros, like their effects on society. I think that Soros and Koch's effects on society are roughly like equivalent in how much they're putting out, how much money they're investing, but Soros is like investing it in good things, like by far. Very, very good things. Soros invests in like democracies. He invests in democratic candidates and stuff. And I can't complain about that really, unless I have a problem with like big organizations or big governments or big rich elites putting money into the political system. I do happen to have a problem with that. Oh, shit. Shit. God, this is like the most obnoxious game and race that I think I've played. It is the most frustrating thing ever. Anyway, I don't think that in an ideal world we wouldn't have rich people meddling in our political system. If I had my way, we would not have that. Any of them. Soros or the Kochs or anybody else. We would not have that.
He's playing chess over centuries. I'll buy that up, then I'll buy that up. Fuck you. I'll marry this lady. Fuck her. Oh, she's fucked Tony Blair. I'll marry this lady. Nah, fuck her. I'll have Jerry Hire. Fuck it. You know, look at him, just sort of kept alive by tubes, pulling the strings of a global tune. Don't you think?
No, I don't. Again, all of this is speculation. There is no quote-unquote global elite that's pulling strings like puppet masters like this. At the very least, there's no evidence of this, and there's really no reason to think this, okay? No one is controlling the political system in China and in the United States and in India and in Pakistan and Iran and Saudi Arabia. That's not happening, okay? There are rich people in each of those countries that have more political sway than they should, more than anybody else. But that doesn't mean that they're like controlling. All right, this is driving me insane, dude. I hate this game. I'm only going through this because it's like mandatory. I can't believe that this guy really thinks that the guy that controls the United States also controls China and Russia and India and everything else. Just ridiculous.
This process of securitization, we've told you that. On the contrary, yeah, blah, 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 regulatory, the mercy of employers. Yeah, I think we've explained that pretty well now. Do you agree with us? Like, so, in a way, all them left-wing people that are like, yeah, victory, victory, you fucking idiots. Why didn't you form some sort of alliance with the right and get the centrists out? The centrists are the real problem. What you want are...
I know. You should have met with your left-wing... And you should have met with your political Congress, like all, well, I don't know, 10 million voters should have all gotten together in this one room and agreed. Like, this isn't something that you can just decide. People vote the way that they vote, for better or worse. And more people are opposed to the right than not, so...
Radicalist anti-establishment alliances that regionalise subsequent to their ascent to power and say, listen, we're very pro-migration in our part of it. Oh, okay, well then you can have that region and you can be pro-migration. We're very anti-immigration in this part. Okay, well you don't have to take no migrants in your bit. You're not worried that it's going to affect labour. No. What about our duty as a former colonising and imperialist nation? You know, you've got to decentralise power to the maximum degree possible, not minimum. That's got to be the guiding principle. There, that's as best as I can do for today. Beyond duty. You're very funny, Russell. Cheers!
He's not very funny. He's dumb as dog shit. I'm sorry to say.
Psychedelics will save the world, says T. Greer, 4321. Yep, I hope so. I fucking hope so. I'm going to, because if it's, I'm trying my best with kombucha, baby. Now, shall we show you, it's 38 minutes in, we've not really talked about the United States of America. We're just going to show you a couple more things from my country to make sure you've understood the giddying flavour of globalism, just to make sure you've understood how these two elections amount to globalist victories. Then we'll show you a little bit more of dear old giddy old Auntie Joe Biden. Let's have a look at Asset 49, can I?
Giddy Auntie Joe Biden?
Mate, can I have a look at 49? Just... Right. One of the great things about Tony Blair's return to power, not Tony Blair, Keir Starmer's ascent to power, is the return of Tony Blair. He be the chuckling puppeteer. He be...
Dude, wasn't Tony Blair the Prime Minister of France during the Iraq War? I think so.
The figure whose fingers are probably sort of long and tapered like old church candles. Tony Blair, who, do you remember during the pandemic, let his hair grow too
Shit. All right. Damn it.
long. It's like, no, don't go full Nosferatu, Tony. We already know you're a member of the undead. Tony Blair is there to guide Keir Starmer into the upper echelons of global and indeed globalist power. And here is Tony Blair explaining to us the real threats we face and how he and his friends will protect us from them.
I am constantly saying to my own party, Labour Party, which will probably win this election, you've got to focus on this technology revolution. It's not an afterthought. It's the single biggest thing that's happening in the world today of a real world nature that is going to change everything. Leave aside all the geopolitics and the conflicts and war and America, China, all the rest of it. This revolution is going to change everything about our society, our economy, the way we live, the way we interact with each other. I think we're living through a period of massive change, right? This is the biggest technological change since the Industrial Revolution, for sure. How do you use it to transform healthcare, education, the way government functions?
This dude owns a bunch of shares in a company that's going to buy up health data, sell it and repackage it. We'll tell you a little bit more about that tomorrow.
Like, distrust everything out of this guy's mouth, seriously. You cannot trust Russell Brand as far as you can throw him.
He's always been pro-ID. He's always been pro-ideas. They're like, you should have ID, you know. We should be able to look at your ID. We should be able to look at your stuff. How will these globalist alliances be affected by BRICS, the new financial alliances that are emerging?
Oh my God, BRICS is this, burgeoning conspiracy theory, if you will, about, four world powers: Britain, Russia, India, China, and South Korea, I think. I don't remember. And it's all about how the global elites control those 5 countries or whatever. It's ridiculous. Guys, come on, get a grip on reality.
That's one of the questions that's being asked in the Rumble chat. Let's do some stuff on that tomorrow, because I saw some interesting moves being made around that. Let's get back to old Nosferatu.
Damn, lost again.
How do you help educate the private sector as to how they can embrace
Brazil, not Britain. My mistake. Yeah, Brazil. That's what it was.
AI in order to improve productivity? I mean, this is a huge agenda for a government and a really exciting one. You know, people get a bit depressed about being in politics because you get all this...
Because of you!
criticism. People certainly in the West feel society's not changing fast enough and well enough. And I say, no, it's a really exciting time to be in politics because you've got this massive revolution that you've got to come to terms with.
Yeah, okay. Also, you've got, it seems, some pretty peculiar financial interests and giddy investments. What an extraordinary time it is to be in politics, whether it's in the United Kingdom or France or the USA. Certainly, this little lad, he's on asset number 11. Thanks, guys. This little lad, this little lad is a politician now. He's like this is the equivalent of a congressman. Look at this little sort of lovely human light bulb that's risen to power as a result of electoral politics.
You graduated from Cambridge University. You're clearly a bright guy. A slightly trickier question then. One of the criticisms of MPs is that they are, many of them don't have real world experience. You've touched on some of it there, but at 22, can you really offer real world experience and to bring that to the House of Commons?
I always get a little bit frustrated when people mention life experience.
I do. I get frustrated about that because I've got the experience of literally...
I'm going to lose my shit.
Like, look at the size of my shoulders, it's the size of my head. Now, I have to hold this bloody thing on. I've got trap muscles like Sly Stallone, I'll tell you that.
It's because...
I don't understand. What the hell is that?
No one has yet been able to explain to me why being older makes you better at the job.
We've got more experience, I think that's why.
But what kind of experience?
What I mean by experience? Experiences is a very complex word, isn't it? I've experienced...
Look, yes, older people have more experience sometimes. But there's a certain point at which more experience isn't necessarily valuable. Like, if you have 25 years experience, you're not less qualified than somebody with 30 years experience. Are you shitting me with this? I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna go bananas. Anyway, Joe Biden has been in politics for I don't know, 50 years or some shit. I don't think that Biden is more qualified than, say, Barack Obama, who was reasonably new. You know, some people, I feel like this is like an area of society in which you learn on the job by default. That's just kind of part of the deal. Like, because you can't be president before being president. You can't get experience in presidency before taking the job. So, and also, it's mostly about decision making anyway. All of the administrating that's done is done by other people. You're not actually carrying out plans or whatever. So.
This is being in rooms, my hair follicles, even now, I can expand them. Even in this moment now, there's neurons firing off like a real-life megamind.
What?
By definition, over the years, you gain more experiences, don't you?
But what kind of experience, right?
What life
No one's been
experience?
able to... Well, we're going around in a circle there, aren't we?
Oh, no, good for you.
Come on, we're going in a circle, and as I do with my comb every morning, it's the circumference of the planet Earth.
It's good for you batting back, but you can talk about all the things you just mentioned of renting, jobs, children's services, looking after old people, old elderly relatives, healthcare issues, all the sorts of things that you get over a lifetime. That's the point.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I said before, I've had a lot of experiences that lots of older MPs won't have had, and...
I don't know. I've been in Cambridge University. I've been managing budgets. I've been looking at
Why is he saying this?
panelled walls. I sometimes strum away at my midriff, where I have a tendril from the end of my body and write messages to the future in the white ink of life.
I've done quite a lot for my age as well. I mean, I've been a councillor for a couple of years and a cabinet member responsible for about £17 million of public money over the last year. I've been a trustee of a university, and I've done a lot of other things that perhaps wouldn't necessarily be typical for someone of my age.
If that wasn't enough to convince you that we don't take politics that seriously in my country, look at this. This is actually...
Look, people don't have to, be that experienced to be a senator, a little, or a congressman or whatever, or even a president. They don't have to be experts at this. Wow, I finally got that race. Holy shit. That was a nightmare. That was an absolute nightmare. He's doing a British voice, but he's British. That's true. That's a good point.
Actually, the results of the election being announced in a particular constituency.
Nice job. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jason Chinnery, the official Monster Raving Loony Party, 230.
Thank you.
Is that real? That's funny.
Thank you, that'll do. Fuck you. But why should we take it seriously? Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should ridicule and laugh, assured by the divine comedy that's playing out within us all. Maybe we should, within ourselves, turn our bodies into temples, turn our minds into conduits for a greater glory, practice the principle of love wherever we may. Because when you look at the chaos unfolding and the evident corruption, it's difficult to take the world seriously, even when it's not so ridiculously rendered in the two last examples of the madness of British politics. For example, you see that Boeing has been fined.
Wait, why did it get quiet? That was weird.
Fined $243 million. And as John Lefebvre pointed out on X, Donald Trump was fined $350 million for saying Mar-a-Lago was worth more than $20 million to get a loan he repaid on time with interest. Presumably,
I don't care if he got a loan on time and paid on time with interest. That it's irrelevant to me. That's still fraud. If I plan to kill somebody and I show up with a knife and I stab their pillow to death, that's still attempted murder. You attempted to get something that you're not entitled to. That's what Trump did. He attempted to get something he was not entitled to. That's not okay. I don't care if there was harm done. It's irrelevant.
what they do is they just look at the figure of Trump and think, how do we bring this motherfucker down? What do we have to do? What do we...
I can't believe he is supporting Trump right now, of all people. He, the person who talks about individual rights and all that stuff nonstop. Trump wants to erase individual rights. There's no way around that. There's no other way to interpret that.
Have to say, these are the various ways in which power can be managed. In France, deals are done. 200 people, 200 candidates from a couple of parties drop out to ease the way for an unusual and potentially precarious coalition. In the UK, an old first-past-the-post rather than proportional representation system is deployed to ensure that another globalist WEF stooge ascends to power.
Look, this is democracy. Are you shitting me? This is how democracy works, baby. You don't like it? Go to a dictatorship like Russia.
with mentors like Barack Obama, it's a matter of public record, and Tony Blair. You see how at various stages power can be ushered, guided and marshalled, and it can be ensured that that power always remains accessible to the same elite strata. While we're down here quarrelling and quibbling, they're up there making choices that maneuver troops around the world and ensure that their power and their hegemony remains unchallenged. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and the chat? We got a little message now. Who's it from, Lauren? Who's the advert?
Wait, yes, he's real. That guy who was ridiculous, yes, he's real, as is Lord Binfay. Interesting. I think that that's stupid. I get it's funny to vote for Vermin Supreme or whatever, but Vermin Supreme is siphoning votes from real candidates who could actually do some good. Vermin Supreme is not going to win, and even if he were, he's a total scumbag. His policies are fucking terrible. Even if they're a joke, his policies are nightmarishly bad. Just like I'm sure that one guy, his policies were bad. I'm sure of it. I haven't seen them, but these third-party joke candidacies tend to have absolutely terrible joke policies too. So they're taking votes from people who need them, who otherwise could better society. And for that reason, I don't like you. I'm not a fan. You shouldn't be doing that, in my opinion.
Vote for what?
1775.
Oh, this is a good one. Now, as you know, I need coffee, but I need coffee that
Oh no, is he doing that stupid coffee ad again? Oh my God.
I believe in, and I need a coffee that believes in me. You get a deal on 1775 coffee, which I don't like advertising because, as you know, that was the Eve. Looney Party's better than the Uni Party. Very good in the Awaken Wonder chat. Very good, very good.
No, it isn't. And there is no quote-unquote uniparty, okay? There are, oh my God, this dude is trying to knock me off the track. There are differences between the right and the left. The right-wing party, the left-wing party. There are differences. One is better than the other. You can pretend otherwise all you want. It's just not true or accurate.
1775 is a coffee it's rebellious, baby. It's a rebellious coffee. Here's me supporting it on behalf of my partners at Rumble. Have a look. Stay with us.
Hey, this is exciting.
Oh my God.
We've got a great partner
Let's listen.
today. It's Rumble. But beyond Rumble is Rumble's latest venture. Let me ask you first, are you a Sleepy Joe type character with zero cognitive performance, struggling to muster focus and brain power for basic things like running the United States of America? You've got to stop drinking woke liberal coffee that hates you and your way of life and start your day by...
Give me a fucking break. Woke liberals, quote unquote, don't hate anybody or their way of life. What does that even mean? People to the left hate... Oh my God, dude. People to the left hate people's way of life?
By drinking Rumble's very own 1775 coffee. This is going to be the best tasting coffee you've ever had. Seriously good, ethically sourced from a family farm in the high altitude mountains of Bolivia. Not in the Bolivian lowlands, run not by a family, but by a single man, still living...
I don't know what that means.
With a pet. No, instead of waking up and drinking your big corporation-owned woke ideology coffee that's probably making you sick from the pesticides it's sprayed with, try Rumble.
Oh my God, dude.
1775 revolutionary coffee. Support freedom of speech. Build a parallel economy that actually values you and loves you. My favorite? It's dark, of course. I've always found the lure of the dark irresistible.
Okay, this is absolutely terrible. Wow, how long are these ads? Anyway, I wonder. Let's see. The one I saw yesterday is like a 90-second integration. Knowing how this stuff works, you got 6 million subbies on YouTube and 2 million subbies on Rumble. I'm going to guess he's making $50,000 per 60-second integration. So every 60 seconds he talks about this coffee makes $50,000. How many videos does he upload where he talks about it? Nearly all of his videos, right? I don't know, one a day? Think about how much he's making. That's a lot of fucking money. So yes, Nazi coffee, right? Exactly, Nazi coffee. Anyway, 50 grand per day. Think about how much money that is. That is a buttload of money. Okay? Holy shit.
With a pet. No.
All right. So we've heard his stupid little coffee integration or whatever. Do me a solid, guys. Don't buy Patriot coffee or what the hell is this? Rudy Giuliani's coffee brand, 1775 coffee. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, tell me what you think about these people and what they had to say. Absolutely insane to me.